Hey, I'm Max and welcome to the Launch and Destroy game tutorial. In this tutorial, I'll show you how to make this game right here in Unity where you can throw different balls with different power, like this one. If I click and makes it bounce, you can destroy some boxes, and when you hit the enemy, the level ends and you can go to the next level or back to the menu. In this part, we'll add the explosives. So first, I'll drag in my explosive and make it quite a bit smaller. Let's say 0.1.1. I didn't work very hard on this sprite, but of course you can use whatever sprite you want. Then I will give it a box collider 2D and a rigid body 2D. Now I will create a new C# script and call it explosive. I will do something very similar to the destroyable and target, so I'll do public float force to explode. Then I'll do a void on collision enter 2D. And there I'll check if collision.relative velocity.magnitude is greater than my force to explode. And if it is, then I want to explode, so I'll create my private void explode, or you can make it public if you want to call it from another class. And here I'll just call my explode. Now for the explosion, I want to get all of the rigid bodies in the scene, and if they're close enough to the explosion, I want to apply a force to them. So I'll do for each rigid body 2D RB in find objects of type with an S, rigid body 2D with little parentheses. Now I will add a float radius and force. So in here I want to do vector 3 direction equals to rb.transform.position minus transform.position. So the direction from the explosive to the thing that is getting pushed. Then I'll check if the object is close enough. So I'll do if direction.magnitude, so the distance between the two, is less than radius or maximum radius. And if it is, then I want to do rb.add force. So right now our direction, the longer it is, so the bigger our direction is, the further away it is. But in our force, we want to do it so the further away it is, the smaller the force is going to be. So I'll try doing 1 divided by direction. I'm not sure if that's going to work. And then I want to do times force, obviously, because I want to have my parameter force affected. And then I'll simply add a force mode 2d.impulse, so it adds it as an impulse. So the 1 divided by the direction doesn't seem to work. So instead what I think I'll do is I'll take the direction dot normalize, so it's only a magnitude of 1, times the force, so our force will apply in the right direction. And then I will subtract to this the direction divided by our radius. So I'm kind of improvising this. I'm not sure if that's going to work, but this should add a vector in the right direction according to the force. And then subtract to this the direction divided by the radius, so the further away it is. I doubt that's going to work perfectly on the first try, but we'll figure it out. So now I'll try adding this to my explosion here called boom. I'll just add my explosive script. Force to explode, I'll say, let's say 5 just to be safe. Radius, I don't know, I'm gonna do 5, and force probably 5. We'll see, I'm not quite sure, like the values are not very intuitive. And I just noticed a bug: when I hit retry, I cannot shoot anymore. And that's because the time is still frozen. And that might be because when we set the time scale to 1 and then we reload the scene, maybe something in the player makes it so it stops again right before reloading the scene or something. So just to be safe in my player in the start, I'll do time.timescale equals to 1, and that should fix it. So my explosion doesn't seem to be working. I hit it pretty hard and it's not going off. I'll try doing at the end of explode a destroy Gameobject to see if it actually triggers the explode or not. Okay, so the explosion does seem to be triggered, it just doesn't push anything around it. Okay, so I've been testing for a few minutes now, and I was wondering why my boxes were not getting pushed. I found out that the box has a Z of -200 and the parts of 200. So when you add them together, it makes up 0, so it looks fine in the game, but when the rigid body is checked, the position is -200. So since they are prefab, I will open up my prefab right here, select all of the objects inside, and set the Z to 0 for all of them. And I'll do the same on my woodbox, open prefab, select all of them like the main game object and the parts, set a Z to 0. I will also set it in my scene because apparently that didn't copy, so 0 for them. So now they show fine and it should calculate fine for the explosion. So now if I hit play and I launch my ball on the explosive, it should push off the boxes, and there you go, it did. It didn't push those ones here because they were too far away. I set the radius to 8. So maybe I could reduce the force a little bit, let's say maybe 10 should be fine. So now if I hit the explosive, it should push my ball back and push all of the boxes, and there you go, it did. So the explosive seems to work fine. Thanks for watching this part of the tutorial. If you want, you can have more objects with different type of things other than explosions. Maybe you can have some things that when you touch them, it teleports you to another spot. I mean, the concept is always the same. Just create an object, add a script, and in your script you do something on collision, or you can do something after a time, or really you could do anything. Like, I'm just using this as an example, but you could use the same type of concept to add any other feature to the game. Hopefully that was helpful to you. If you liked it, make sure to like it and subscribe. Feel free to check out my other Unity tutorials. If this one helped you, maybe the other ones will too. And thanks for watching. Hopefully I'll see you later.